Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath, and in this episode, I'm going to try to take some thoughts from up here, put them down on the camera. I have no notes, I'm just kind of feeling this out. I've got some thoughts and opinions that I don't think I've ever really expressed here on the channel. And the bottom line is the reason I'm making this video in the first place is that we're living in some really tumultuous times as far as cinephiles, movie fans, TV fans, fans of the arts. That's essentially what it is. We are fans of the arts. We love our stories. I love my stories. But it's a little bit scary, or it can be a little bit scary, because of course we're seeing all these mergers and acquisitions, and that's kind of what's got me thinking about it, is Warner Brothers, Discovery. I'm like, well, what happens? Was that what Keelar's goal was the whole time, is to like hack off the arms and legs of Warner Media, lay off the hundreds and thousands of people, hamstring Warner Archive? Yeah, I did a video about this, like, is Warner Brothers discontinuing physical media well, short answer, no, of course not. Long answer, well, a lot of it, yeah, they are. You're always going to get Justice League, right? I mean, probably. You probably are always going to get Justice League. But what about the hundreds, man, there's thousands and thousands of movies. You may not be interested in them, but I am, and a lot of other people are. What happens to them? And what of them, I say? It's interesting. They're gonna maybe end up on a streaming service. What happens when when 3 or 4 companies own everything? It's got me thinking. So, I go back to the end of 2020, the beginning of 2021. I made a statement in front of you guys, and I said that I believe that 2020 was the pinnacle for physical media. And a lot of you guys were like, well, what about 2008, 2009, 2010? Yes, in terms of sales, that was a higher threshold, right? But in terms of breadth of selection, I mean, the pandemic had a huge effect on what we were offered. I mean, every company, every studio, every distributor was like, what have we got? Let's sell it. It was a fire sale. And we look back on it now, it was a fire sale. It was everybody grab it, get out the door. That's what it was. So here's what I'm thinking. Like, just put this down here. I do not fear the future. I do not look at the future with fear. I'm not worried that Blu-ray players are going away. I mean, I'm really not. I can go onto Amazon right now and I can buy a 3.5 floppy disk drive. I can buy a CD player. I can buy one of those CD players that you carry around with you like you did in 1993 or 95 or whatever. People are making VCRs again. You can get cassette. I can go into Walmart right now and buy blank cassettes. What is this? What era is this? So now there's an argument that the quality of all of this is not great. And that's a fair argument. But there are hundreds of you know what? No. There are millions of DVDs, Blu-rays, and now 4Ks out in the wild in circulation. There will be some market to serve that. Don't worry. Do not worry. Do not buy out of fear. Buy because you want to buy. See, this is where the cinephile overpowers the collector for me. I never wanted to market myself to you guys as a collector. I mean, I did sometimes. I did market myself as and I am a collector, but the collector is the collection is a side effect of my movie passion, because I want access to these movies, and we know so many of these movies are not on streaming. They're not. A lot of them aren't even on iTunes or available for digital download. But look, if you want to see a movie and you can't find it and you want to have the disc, you'll be able to do that somehow, somewhere. It may not be the best quality, but everything got a DVD release, right? I mean, there's so much that got, not everything, but a lot of stuff got a DVD release. If you want to own that and you want to have that on your shelf, you'll be able to do that, and you'll have some option for a player that will play that. So I don't really have fear about the future and where the market's going. I do have a certain element of sadness, because the less companies, the less corporations, the less studios, the less places there are for artists to bring their script ideas, their pitches, their whatever, their TV show outlines, the less of those there are, the worse it is for us. In my era, when I came into movie fandom, Of course I loved movies in the 80s, but in the 90s is when I really started to realize, reading themes and looking at like, oh, what's this movie about? What's the character's arc? That sort of stuff. I grew up in the golden age. It was the second era of the auteur. We saw it in the 70s. We got it again in the 90s. Those movies don't exist anymore. And I don't know. I mean, there's some of that stuff that gets greenlit for Netflix, but more often than not, what they do with that is they say, because you want the hours, like a streaming company is going to want the hours of view time, right? So they would say, okay, well, that's a great script idea. Let's stretch it out, expand it. It's an 8-episode Netflix series. But it was a 100-minute film with a 3-act structure, beat, the end. Yeah, but let's get 8 out of it. And I think we see that. You see that a lot with things that feel very stretched out. They were never conceived as TV shows or streaming shows, whatever, sequential. That makes me kind of sad. But I'm not worried about it. And I don't view streaming as the enemy. I mean, I really don't. Some of you guys, I feel like there's a war against like physical versus streaming. They serve two very different purposes. If physical media is going the way of like vinyl, well, I'm a big vinyl collector. I'm a big vinyl fan. I listen to at least one vinyl album usually every single day, sometimes 3, 4, 5. So, but here's the thing. I think that we are headed that way. I think physical media, people like us who like to own Django or, Flash Gordon or Tremors in the best format possible. I think we are the new vinyl collector. And vinyl never went away. That's worth pointing out. Vinyl was not cool for a while, but for some people, it was always cool. We knew those people in the 90s and the 2000s that were still vinyl collectors, and they were cool. So there is always going to be a market for this stuff, but it just goes underground. It becomes a fringe, and that's okay. It's not something to be mad about. It's not something we have to fight a war about. But as it becomes more fringe, and if we're talking about vinyl collecting and things like that, I don't have to own every album. I don't need to own every movie. If I can see it on streaming, well, streaming has served a purpose. And for the streaming exclusives and things like that, I'm fine with it. And then if I really like something, or really connect with it, then I have the opportunity to track it down, to add it to my shelf for posterity, because when you make something that's intangible, like you're clicking it with your remotes, and then you make it tangible, it has a power, right? You're manifesting it into something that exists. It's your passion, and you've manifested it into some sort of a reality. So there's always a place for that. It's not, and frankly, that's not for everybody. And I realize that now, here's a whole separate topic, but it ties into this. As we get older, the younger generations just aren't interested in the stuff we're interested in. I've got a teenager who is not interested in owning things on a disc or a book in a paper thing, and that's okay. Different purposes. I feel no fear about it. I feel no anger about it. We're good. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of movies on disc, and when we're gone, they will still be here. They'll be here long after we're here. They're going to be in landfills. It's kind of a concern, possibly a problem. They're manifestations of art, and so I have respect for them, right? But what are we? There's something to be said for a lower carbon footprint, like mountains and mountains. You go into a thrift store, how many copies of Home Alone, or what are some of the other ones? I mean, those Disney, the Disney bricks and stuff. I mean, you'll see 5 or 6 copies of those things. You could build a house out of used Home Alone copies or something. I mean, you know what I'm saying? No one wants that anymore. It's outlived its purpose. Now, it's also these forms of media. VHS is an obsolete format. Now, that doesn't mean I'm judging it, but it's an obsolete format. So it made sense for VCRs to go away. But you can buy those again too, right? So people make VCRs now. But DVDs, Blu-rays, 4K, there is no argument that they're inferior technologies. They may be inconvenient, and sometimes they are. There's a joke about vinyl. It's what did you get into vinyl for? It's well, I really liked the inconvenience and I think it's the cost and the inconvenience. That's what drew me to it. That's where we're headed as a physical media community as well, because It's fringy, man. It's really on the fringe. But, I don't know. It still serves a purpose. But I don't know. I've got a lot of ideas rattling around in my head. And I think it's going to be okay. We're going to be like, it's all, what do we want that we don't have? We can all name some things, but like there's some manifestation of that. So if things go streaming, I don't have to have 75 streaming networks. I can pick the ones that I want for the content that I want. And I have been doing this for years. I've been collecting movies. I started with VHS, DVDs, and 98 started with DVDs. And here we are 2021. I'm going to date this video. Here we are in 2021 and 4Ks. Like I love this stuff and I have access. Like I'm good. And you're probably good too. You don't have to worry about, like, they're not going to come take your media and burn it in a bonfire like a beetle burning. So I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like Spock and Captain Kirk in, is it Star Trek 4, where they talk about how have they become so inflexible and so like, you do just get to a certain age and it's not for you anymore and you become the dinosaur. And like, I think a lot of us are becoming the dinosaur. That's okay. We're all right. We're going to be okay. That's my theme for this video. I should just call this like thoughts on physical media. No, thoughts on being a movie fan in 2021 and then like colon, like we're all right. Because everything's changing. The theatrical model is changing. You can watch movies at home. Here's this question. When 2021 is over, this was Warner Brothers' big experiment with HBO Max, keeping the movies in the theater and on HBO Max basically at the same time. When 2021 is over, you think they're going to do that again? I think they will. But we'll see. But I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about. Each of us lives to the certain, if we're lucky, we live to a certain age to feel like we have outlived the current trends. And I think a lot of us are seeing this and we're feeling this. Is like we're maybe not the target audience for, what's happening at Warner Brothers. Listen, Jason Kilar did the job he was supposed to do. He cut losses, he raised streaming, and he's made it a nice little package to sell to somebody else. That's what's happening. 20th Century Fox, same thing. Man, 2025, there's going to be like 3 companies that own everything. Apple, what is Apple? Apple's probably going to buy one. They'll probably buy Discovery and Warner Brothers. Like if George Lucas has taught us anything with the Phantom Menace, there's always a bigger fish. There's always a bigger fish. Who's the bigger fish? So it's where we're headed. It doesn't have to be the last stop. It will be interesting to see how things continue to evolve once there are like 3 companies that own everything. But I don't know, like just, you don't have to embrace the change, but don't fear it and don't buy out of fear. We are not at war. Just want to say that. I see so much anger. We are not at war with anybody. We are cinema fans. We should be sharing that, and we have the discs so we can lend them to people. Maybe write it down so when you can, like, I have so and so checked out to you. I need it back. Write it down. But like, share it. That's what we should be doing. In my opinion, that's what I do with this channel. Is this channel exists. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I've ever pulled the curtain back this far. You know what my mission statement is for Serial at Midnight? To share my love of movies with other people and get them excited about going to watch things. It's not about buying. It's not about ownership. It's about promoting cinema literacy, movie literacy. The more movies you can see, the more I feel like I've done my job. There are so many cool movies out there, but the main outlets are talking about like 1% of them. And I want to expand the horizons. I want to blow the bloody doors off. You're only supposed to... All right, it's terrible. Michael Caine. Hello, I'm Michael Caine. So I don't know. This is a very rambling video. 15 minutes of just rambling about like, are we okay? We're okay. We're going to be okay. There's always going to be players, and there's probably always going to be discs. If you're concerned about it, and you have, like, if you've been holding off on buying, you see the stuff I talk about. So if you want it, and you're worried that it's not going to be on a streaming service, I just did a review for Django on 4K. Not Tarantino's Django, the real Django. Oh, hot take. The original Django. The Django that started like 1,000 other Django movies. If you're worried that's not going to be on streaming, pick it up. And then you don't have to worry about it. If you don't get that one, get the DVD. Support somebody who's putting this stuff out if you're interested in it. But don't worry about stuff disappearing. It will always be everything. Here's where we end. Everything will always be around somewhere. Somewhere. It may not be in Walmart or Target, but it'll be somewhere and you'll have access to it. So don't live in fear. Support the companies that we are that care about this stuff and are doing. I mean, look, Kino Lorber, Arrow, Mill Creek Entertainment. There's so many. See, I've started naming them now. Which is not good because I'm going to leave people out. There's so many companies that are doing such exceptional work to serve us. They're serving us. We represent here's another point. We represent such a tiny fraction of the market. Disney Plus has about 100 million subscribers, right? There are like maybe 5,000 to 10,000 physical media supporters at this point in the game. That's like 0.01% of who is watching Disney Plus. We are such a tiny market. Why would they cater to us? It makes no sense that they would do so. So, for the companies that do cater to us, if you want to keep them in business, pull out your wallet. Break them a piece off. You know what I'm saying? Break off some of that for them companies. I don't know. It's going to be okay. But it's good to get this video, just get my thoughts out. So in summary and in conclusion, no fear. Support the companies that you care about. Streaming is not the enemy. There is no war. Not for us anyway. There's probably a corporate war, but it's not ours to fight. We vote with our dollars. And that's what we can do. Vote with your dollars. Or don't vote. It's not going anywhere. All right. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Stream of consciousness video. What do you think about it? What are some of your thoughts? And we'll continue the conversation down below. This is the topic that seems to incite a lot of confusion, fear, doubt, worry. I don't want that in the comments. Okay, so let's be constructive about it and respectful, right? That's what we do here at Serial at Midnight. We have respectful conversations about things, and let's continue that in the comments below. Guys, thanks so much. Take care, and until next time, I will catch you later.